Hello, everyone. It's me. It's Terry TV, just for you, Wednesdays around noontime. At least that's how I'm working to be consistent. How do you like my shirt? $9.99. Well, how about that? I love the Haunted Mansion, and I found this cool shirt, so I was very excited. Let me zoom in here and talk to you about our topic today. First of all, my name is Terry Harden, and I am a pop icon and Disney Imagineer. I'm responsible for a lot of crazy stuff that kind of just keeps going because after so many years in the business, you're just shocked at how much is going on. So, Ghostbusters, I worked on Ghostbusters, Men in Black, um, designed the Dragon and Dragon's Lair, Disneyland Paris, the whole attraction. Actually, I did that. Didn't build it in Paris, others did that, but they did a great job. So, if you're interested, Google me, Google Terry Harden. I have 2 Wikipedia pages and so much more, plus my website. So do me a favor and feel free to lovingly check it out. And thanks a lot. Okay, so a couple things I wanted to tell you about. First of all, this topic, this new age that I am going into called the Silver Years. That's what I affectionately call the Silver Years. As a little girl, I was eager to become a silver yeared person. I felt Silver Years, my grandfather was one of my favorite people. And I kept thinking to be him and to have lived through so much would be exciting. And now I am here at almost 69 years old. I have lived through quite a lot, not only in my own life, but in the world today. I think it came to a real realization, although I had realized it before, when the Artemis 2 went around the moon. I remembered sitting with my family watching a black and white television as they landed on the moon in 1969. So it's kind of like, wow, this is electricity happening. The wall coming down, the Berlin Wall coming down, which I thought was a real monumental point in my life, along with the space shuttle going and da da coming back and da da going out again. So all of that was very exciting to me. Now we have the Dragon, now we have a space station, and I feel like I'm on my way to living in Star Trek, one of my favorite shows. So there you go. But as life would have it, I am a very active person. I'm an artist and creator. And I zipped around and still zip around all the time. But I noticed, I speak everywhere. I noticed that there were some things in my body that were changing, about my health and my body that were changing. And I just wanted to discuss those with you today, as perhaps some of you are getting older, or if you're caring for older people that happen to be my age or older. The deal is something of a revelation to me. It might not be to you, but I'm an artist. I like to sculpt under hot lights and create magic. So, yeah, things started to go a little bit south for me. For one thing, I was sculpting here at my table. I am a sculptor, painter. Like I said, Google me and you're going to find out all the things that I do. In Ghostbusters, I was puppeteer. I was Sigourney Weaver's terror dog in the refrigerator and in the doorway, and also a part of the Marshmallow Man. Built it along with a team of people. Whenever I say puppetry, it means team. There is never really only one person, it's a team. Jim Henson, who I worked with for a few years, actually is the same. You know, even though he did Kermit the Frog, Kermit the Frog is fun, but much more fun with his team, isn't it? So, team effort. And a bunch of us built the Marshmallow Man. Billy Bryant was inside it. And then I, along with 4 other people, puppeteered it back in the day in 1984. I was also in Dune. I stunt doubled in Dune and also built the still suits with a team. Did body casts, meaning cast the actors' body types and then made a form for those and then built every still suit from 1984. Not just me, my team did it in 1984. So if you like the 1984 Dune, then the still suits were, I was a part of that. So lots of stuff, lots of happening. And now, after Disney and after Henson and after all of this stuff, I am now working mostly in my studio doing little figurines and sculptures, one of a kinds, prototypes, paintings, designing inside of people's like man cave. I worked on a man cave because I did the Dragon's Lair in Paris, Disneyland, or Disneyland Paris as they're calling it now. It used to be called Euro Disneyland, but in any case, there's a dragon there, 35 feet, that roars and carries on underneath the castle. So if you go to Paris, don't forget to see the dragon underneath the castle. Be sure to make an effort to get down below the castle and see that dragon. You won't be disappointed. But as I got older, things didn't come as quickly to me. Now I stay in decent shape, but I'll say that I started to exercise, I guess, but I did it inconsistently. Okay, I used to do marathons, run walk marathons years ago, and then I tapered off on that because my cardiologist said I don't want you running, so I walked them. And then the pandemic hit, and I ended up doing virtual ones here in my home, which were nice. Not as fun as being with people, but I did those. And then I tapered off because I realized a few things about myself. So let's get to it. As I went to my doctor every year like clockwork, and they took blood and they did the physical and they checked your breathing and they, did the girly stuff and they did the reflex stuff and they did all that entails. I started to converse with my doctor about certain things that I was finding different. And my doctor said, well, this is what comes with old age. Is my hearing all right? Is my dental okay? Is my whatever, my eyes, blah, blah, blah. And you all know this. I'm like probably preaching to the choir a little bit, but this is the case. But I started to see some changes in my physical makeup that began to concern me. One of them happened when I was sculpting here at my studio, and I turned. So I pivoted. I usually sculpt standing. Now I'm sitting. I don't sit a lot. So, first thing they said is you need to sit more because you're standing and it's causing your legs to have some challenges in the ankles with swelling. And I thought, well, is that my eating habits? What is that? We tapered off salt, and I don't eat salt. I eat some sugar, but I don't OD. Uh, what would be my weakness? Sugar weakness would be ice cream. So I don't work at an ice cream store. Bad idea. And fish. I love fish, and that's a big one for me. The doctor said that was great for me because omega 3s were very good for me, and I love all the oily fish, sardines and anchovies. Well, not anchovies because they're very salty, but I love them. But you can't just open a can like you can sardines and just, which is what I like to do. My husband says no fish is safe. I like them raw. I like them cooked. I like fish that tastes fishy. I love it. It's my favorite food. Fish, fish, fish. So doctor says that's amazing because most people don't like fish. So this is really good for you. So your joints should stay lubricated. I'm also a heavy calcium producer. This is not because I drink milk, but just because I think it's a theory, it's a thought. Uh, a lot of my work as a puppeteer means over my head. I did it ever since I was a little kid. I'm doing a lot of lifting at times for things in my studio. If I do something, I'm working up, I'm working down. And so things I was a little slower at in my 60s than I was in my 40s, but definitely nothing that made me worry until dun, 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 I pivoted. Well, I should have pivoted. I was standing straight like I am to you now, and I went like this to grab water, paintbrush, paint something, right? Paint tool, something. I went like this, but my foot stayed forward and my upper body did the twist. And I heard this kind of grindy, sort of like a like that. It wasn't really bad, except for my left knee automatically started throbbing to such degree I had to sit down. And every time I tried to stand on it, I couldn't. So I looked it over, I massaged it. The next day I was going to be appearing at a maker fair in the Bay Area, and I was going to be standing for close to 3 days. When I told my colleague that this had happened, I said, I'm going to try and sit most of the time, but I've really got a problem with this leg. I can barely walk on it. Well, iced it, did all the stuff because my father's an athlete, and the knee persisted to be painful. So when I came back from the Maker Faire, having aggravated it probably worse because I wasn't about to leave the event planner in the lurch, I had it checked out. My doctor examined it, had me have an MRI, and it turned out that I tore my meniscus. And I talked to my son because he's a basketball player, and he said, yeah, that often happens when you're playing basketball. But I don't know basketball from baseball to hockey to whatever. Not a sports person, artist here. So, but it hurt. And when the MRI came up with 3 tears in the meniscus, they said, we don't need to operate, but we do need to give you physical therapy. Up until that physical therapy, I was exercising when I thought about it. So, and I mean that my life is active as far as this studio here was designed without a bathroom. And that is because I wanted to make sure that I got up and stepped away from my art. This is a true story. Step away from my art so that when I come back, I can see it in a better way. Yeah. And and so I'm always going between here and the house, here and the house, here and the house, because my studio's in the back. And it's a great studio. It's fabulous. I have a lot of fun. I got a lot of stuff here. All my cool stuff is here. So I'm usually out here quite a bit doing this thing. And now my leg is hurting. And every time I stood, I sat trying to nurse it. And then finally, my doctor said, you're going to have to go talk to an orthopedist. Orthopedist said, physical therapy. Don't feel bad. You're 69, meaning, well, I'm not quite, but 68. You're almost, you're in your 60s. This happens with older people. So that was where things started. All right. Then I had a couple of challenges with a little word that women know as menopause. It wasn't hot flashes. It wasn't anything weird like that. I don't seem to have that. But a lot of other weird stuff started happening, things that I couldn't describe. But when I described to my doctor, she says, oh, don't worry. You're probably deep into the menopause line, which is kind of, what do I do about it? Well, you kind of live with it, is what a lot of doctors will tell you. And you're kind of like, what do you mean live with it? Is this safe for me to live with? Or this is something I should be concerned about? I think you say that, I think you say this line as an older person more times than you want to. Is okay, you say don't worry about it, but are we not worrying about it because we shouldn't worry about it? Or are we not worrying about it because you have someplace to go? Or what? Let me give you an example. If your blood pressure is high, I tend to suffer from hypertension, but if your blood pressure is high and I am used to, back in my day, that's another thing you say as an old person. Back in my day, I remember the way doctors used to be. They used to make house calls, blah, blah, blah. In my case, urgent care and the emergency room meant 2 completely different things than what they mean today. So my mind had to wrap around the fact that urgent care means we'll kind of tell you what it is, but we can't really diagnose it because we don't have the power to diagnose it, and we really can't treat it because we don't have the power to treat it. To if you need something treated, looked at, discovered, whatever, probably better that you skip us and go to emergency. Now, to me, emergency meant, the emergency room meant, clear. Poof. That's what I thought about the emergency room. If you are having a heart condition or something that is on the edge that could go south, meaning you could cross over and you don't want to ignore it, you call the paramedics and you go to the emergency room. This is dire. If you are having a heart situation and you can't catch your breath or there's pain, call 911 and get yourself to the emergency room so that they can help you. Yes? Yes? Please post in the comments if you have something you want to say that's different from this, because that's where my head had to make a change. Because in the emergency rooms today, and I will speak for the emergency rooms in California, that's where I live, It has become urgent care as I used to know it, slash emergency room. No, really. So if your blood pressure is abnormally high or abnormally low, or you're having pain, you could go to urgent care, but urgent care is basically going to send you, in my experience, to another location. Now, I will say my doctor runs an urgent care, and she did. I had some pain not too long ago driving home from Disneyland. It was radiating through my shoulder and my arm and into my neck. And I had read that women have heart attacks different than men. So I wasn't sure what I was experiencing. So I said to my husband, would you take me to urgent care? And my doctor did an EKG, and she had me take an aspirin, and we relaxed a little bit. And then she ran it again, and she said, how are you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10? And I said, oh, about a 4, because I was still having the residual pain. But when I came in, I felt like it was an 8. But she said, no, it's not your heart, Terry. You're fine. It must be something else. Well, it looks like I've injured my shoulder. So that was the case. But she said, you don't need to go to emergency, but monitor it. Maybe see your cardiologist. Them take a look. We're going to take blood. She took blood. My blood looked good. All this kind of stuff. So I was confused. I was very confused. And a few other things happened. I was under some stress. Stress can be very debilitating. So that could have been part of it as well, etc. But then here's what happened. My doctor sent me to physical therapy for my knee. And I have been consistently working on my knee twice a week. Well, working with a therapist twice a week, and then doing my knee exercises twice a week. I try it the next day, but it was too hard on my leg. So I rested. This I got from my father, who's an athlete. You're doing this intense work on your knee for an hour. And then the next day you're going to try it. And if your knee goes, yeah, no, then you leave it alone and work another part of your body, maybe the other leg or your arms or whatever, your core or whatever. Just let that knee rest. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard it. If you're an athlete, that's what they say. And my son, who's an athlete, said the same thing. So that's what I did. And I've been doing that since February, and we're now closing in on May. And here's what I discovered. I discovered that a lot of the challenges I was having that my doctors attributed to old age turned out to be something that could be fixed for me by simply doing consistent exercises. True story. Continuously consistent, meaning you do an hour 3 to 5 times a week, depending on if the knee is agreeable or certain areas of your body are agreeable. If they're not, you sort of stretch or you do something else, but you have movement. You do this consistent movement for about an hour each day. You test the treadmill, walk a little bit on there. If the knee is not getting too freaked out, I'm told I do 30 seconds of walking. And the bottom line is, once I started having this physical therapy, the therapist said, I want you to do this bop, 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 bop. I'm one who loves instructions. So bop, 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 bop. I did it. And now magic is happening. Magic is happening. Not only, and I made the decision I was not going to watch the scale and worry about my weight because I am in my 60s. As long as I eat right, certain things in moderation, and monitor, how I'm eating and what I'm eating. I cook. I don't eat a lot of processed foods. I'm not a pizza person. I know. Isn't that a shock? I'm not. I'm really not. And I'm not a big fan. I'm not so funny. Here's the thing. I love fish. Did I say that? Love, eat, breathe, drink. Love fish. Love it. Really love it. And one of my favorite foods is to open a can of sardines and eat it with my dog. My dog has some, I have some. So No, seriously, my husband hates the smell of sardines so much that afterwards I have to put it in a sealed bag so it doesn't stink up the trash. He's not a sardine person. Or I eat outside. Terry, will you please take those outside? That's bait, says he. You are eating bait. I said, but it's really delicious. Go figure. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm not a fan of potatoes. I do like French fries occasionally. And when I was at a film festival not too long ago in San Diego, they did a Parmesan French fry that I absolutely flipped over. But I don't usually flip over fries. I dislike ketchup with a passion. And so I put mustard on my fries if I season them. And I don't eat a lot of pasta. So I occasionally like spaghetti. But I mean, I have it with tomato sauce, but if the tomato sauce tastes tinny, I can't handle it. So I do a lot of cooking. I can't eat spicy foods anymore. That seems to be an old person thing. I was kind of hoping if I exercised consistently, maybe a little bit of spicy tolerance would come back. Forget it. Not going to happen. So I have to season my food in a different way. Can't have spicy. Allergic to jalapenos. For some reason, jalapenos give me a weird kind of rash and really mess with my system. So I can't have those. And I don't really like them. So that's okay. But yeah, pasta is moderate. White rice, not a fan. I like it if it's the Japanese white rice that comes with like sushi, but and the way that they make it that's kind of sticky. But the other way, bleh. I'd rather have whole grain rice, brown rice, and better yet, the cauliflower rice, which I was introduced to when my cardiologist told me my husband should not eat pasta, potatoes, or rice, which he loves. So, in order to protect him, I cook and we eat the same thing together. Because honestly, if you are a couple and you love each other, you're going to do this for the person who is struggling with foods. You're not going to sit there and have a full on pizza when they are not allowed to have that white flour. Or if they're told to be away from tomato sauce, you don't sit in front of them and eat. I mean, maybe you do, but I don't. And so for us, we eat cauliflower rice. I tend to toss out. We get this chef's kit called Gobble. It's my favorite. I've tried every mailed kit that you can think of. I do not like the ones that you tuck into an oven and cook that are pre-made. Too much salt and they taste terrible. Just to my palate, they taste awful. So I go with a Gobble kit that has all of the ingredients I need to make a meal. So you've got your celery and you've got your red pepper and you've got your egg and you've got your banana or whatever it is in this bag, along with all the seasonings. All you need is the protein, which you can order with Gobble as well. You take the protein and you prepare it. But because they are kits named after certain meals, you have to use some thinking in there. And by that, I mean that if I can't have an Indian spice, meaning something like curry, but I like the taste of curry, I don't take the whole packet like the instructions say and dump it all over a chicken because it's not going to agree with me and I'm going to get sick. But if I take a tiny bit, because it comes in a powder packet, and you can just go blink, 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 or it comes in a paste, it comes in a paste the size of a tablespoon, and I do paste that's maybe the tip of a teaspoon and taste the mixture to make sure it's not going to set my hair on fire, right? But that's the blessing of a kit like Gobble. Gobble also is a kit that does not taste, does not use white rice as their only condiment. There are so many out there that you get so much white rice that I was supplying my entire neighborhood with white rice because we don't eat it. So I was like, guys, come on. You got your wild rice, you've got green beans, you've got Brussels sprouts. There are other side dishes besides white rice. But because white rice is inexpensive, many of these boxed fresh food things have only rice. And it was driving me nuts. Gobble also tastes like restaurant food. In fact, most of the time, it's better than restaurant food. So, and you can decide how you are going to prepare it. And because we have a small family, it eliminates waste. And it also helps me with one more thing. I may be an artist, but I could not pick a decent set of raspberries if my life depended on it. 9 times out of 10, when I pick them, they're spoiled on the bottom. And they have that little cushy thing to absorb their juices that you can't see the bottom. So I can't open it up and go, in the middle of the market because that's rude. Who wants to have them after I've done that? So, so I actually have that delivered, and I pay a little bit extra. I know that there are things that you might not be able to do, but you could go with somebody if you want to go to the market. Go with somebody who really knows their produce, or you could ask someone there. Although those people are becoming less and less. You used to be able to ask the grocer, "Can you help me pick out a decent orange? Can you help me pick out a decent watermelon? Do I really thump it or what?" Right? Okay. So, all of these foods you cook for yourself, you watch the seasonings, all of that stuff. But the bottom line is you must move. Okay. Maybe I digressed a little bit in the food part, but let me get back to the subject. You must move. You've got to move. Yes, there are times when you are so sore after physical therapy. I don't know who I'm talking about here, but you don't want to get out of bed. The next day it's like, and you don't want to get out of bed. So you say to yourself, hey, why don't I just have an extra nap? When you're an older person, I would say for me, okay, Terry as an older person is finding naps are really special. Very good for me. I'll take a 20-minute nap in the middle of the day. It's fabulous. But if you find yourself sleeping the day away several times of days in a row, this is a warning signal to you. You got to get up and you got to move. And it's not just to use the bathroom facilities. You follow me? And I was inconsistent in my exercise. I might walk for 5 minutes and then do something else and then bend down and do this or work on do this, but never get back to consistent cardio or consistent resistance training. And as you get older, you want to keep your balance, you want to keep your strength, you want to make sure that you can try and stay as upright as possible, because as you get older, if you keep yourself in a certain position, it could stay there. I mean, this I've seen and I know. So, in order to fight that or to combat that, you do things that work in opposition to that. So, as a sculptor, when I sculpt, and let me show you my little guy over here. Thank you for being patient and bearing with me. This is my Mushu that I'm creating for an art gallery. Now, you may not be able to see him up close. I can hold him a little bit and you can kind of see him. But honestly, and I'll turn a light on so that he's a little brighter. I'm working on his head and his arms. And this is the reason his arms are kind of exaggerated a little bit is because I'm doing the kite sequence where he says, "I'm your worst nightmare." And so there he is. And when I'm sculpting him and working on him, I'm like this. So actually, I'm more like this. I have these magnifying glasses that I wear because there's something else from being an older person. Plus, I like to work very detailed and small with my sculptures. So, here, if you've never heard of my sculptures, I'm like this with these glasses, and I'm looking at him like this, and I'm sculpting like this. So you can see if you look at my body how it's kind of folding all in on itself as I work. And you can say to yourself, let's sit up. In fact, I've actually designed this particular character so that I can remove his head like this. And then I can work on his head. You can set his body over here and you can work on his head like this with my tools. But I'm still kind of working tight. I'm working like this. I'm working in. I'm bottled in. I'm not this. I don't do this when I'm sculpting these characters. So, here, come here, Mushu. Let's put your head back on. I know you hate to have your head off. So let's put that back on. I'm always doing an armature because an armature is the bones, and that's what makes these so very tolerant of me working on them. But I'm always doing little things with my fingers, and I'm always doing tight movements. Rarely, unless I'm doing something on a larger scale, and I plan to do that. However, I'm not really asked to do that much anymore. I did it when I was working in house for Disney, but now I'm doing more of these little collectible things than the grand stuff. I did used to work in movies with a chainsaw. So I was doing these big movements and the whole body got the openness. But now, because most of my stuff is super tiny, um, all this little teeny tiny detail that I have, it's in, right? So to combat that, I've started painting. Painting allows me to, instead of, I've worked hard, instead of choking up on the brush like this and painting like this on my canvas, I pull back. I actually have longer brushes than this, and I paint like this. I'm also going to share with you that I I made the decision that I never touch a canvas with graphite, meaning I don't draw first. That is not a judgment. That is not a judgment against people who sketch it out. I know many artists that sketch it out. Even the old masters did charcoal when they did it. Uh, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do everything with a brush. I had seen so many painters and envied so many painters who stood back, who stood up, who stood, who stood in a position where they were like this. And then if like from the side, or I could even cut to my camera right from here, that let's push that up because we no longer need that light. Shift this over. Okay. So this kind of a thing where you're up and you're painting like this, where the strokes are coming from your arm and you're kind of orchestrating and you're doing your painting and you're stepping back, you often saw the old masters do that, right? They would go, oh, they'd have the palette here, maybe even the hat or whatever. And they were like, everything big and bold and broad, and your body is open like this, right? So that's the way I paint. And my style is not, it's, I'm beginning to see similarities when I'm painting. I'm training with several teachers because I'm not sure where my style is going to lead me. So I do love being realistic, but I don't want to be photorealistic. I would like to be more along the lines of something that looks real but is my style. Now, you might be saying, what does that even mean? Well, let's take Edward Hopper, which I have been studying for quite a bit lately, because I like the way Hopper has figures you can identify as human. They're realistic enough that they look even more human. Like there's a detail in their face, but it's not lashes and lip line, right? It's lit in a certain way. His favorite work, Nighthawks, has been duplicated in films for decades. And he started duplicating what he saw in films, and then films started duplicating what they saw in his work. That's exactly what I'd like to see happen with my work. I look at films and look at the way they light, because I like that, like, sort of um, film noir, harsh lighting on something, and I like that, and then I work to put it in my painting. Am I successful? Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And I just sort of follow. This is the blessing also about being an older person, but the movement helps me. The movement helps me go. So this is the movement I have in my work, but I need to carve out in your day movement every single day. So, for example, if you feel like you want to stay in bed, at least sit up. Sit up in the bed. If your back is bothering you, your hip is bothering you, whatever, sit up. Don't stay laying down. Sit up. And then if you don't feel like getting up and moving around, every once in a while my hip barks at me. That's another story. And my shoulder is barking at me because being a puppeteer, I spent most of my time with it in the air. So this is old person ailments, hip, knee, back, shoulder. And I am in physical therapy for 2 of them. 1, 2, 3 days a week starting this week. My shoulder finally gets some attention. It's really wanting it. So that's what I'm saying. They work with me for an hour. I get up at 7, I work with them till 8. And man, I'm like a dish rag after I'm done because they really work me hard. In the beginning, they started with me very gently, but as I get stronger, they keep adding. And I don't do, I am very adverse to weight training. So I don't pick up, dumbbells or anything. I was injured when I was younger by a person at a gym, and my this shoulder has never been the same. So this is also part of the reason it needs attention. But my bottom line is I do the bands. They have these stretchy bands, and you can do all kinds of things with these resistant bands, and they really are fabulous. There's also this exercise they have me do that just kills me, where I'm leaning back with these like straps. These straps are like Kevlar, or they're not um, flexible. And then there's a rubber handle, and you kind of lean your body back, and then they put your foot opposite the knee that needs work on a sliding disc, and they put you on a carpeted area. And the idea is to lean back, bend your knees slightly, and then kick this leg out. Like if you're a dancer, you'd point your toe and bring it back into position, point your toe and bring it back, right? But instead, they want you to go like scissors, your toes pointing forward, and you go out, you go down on your leg, but your feet have to stay parallel to each other, right? And you're leaning back. And then you got to bring that sucker back. So then you've got to put the weight, enough weight on that one that hurts, bring it back, and then do this about 10 times. Holy cats. Let me just tell you, ow, 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 ow. So by the time I come home, my whole body is vibrating. So that's what I do during the week. I do that during the week. So if certain exercises aggravate my knee, I don't do them that day. So they have me do squats, which I don't know anyone goes, woohoo, I love squats. I'm someone who's not a fan of them, but I have to do them. And I realize I can't do them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have to do them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because, or Tuesday, Thursday, and then maybe on Saturday I'll do a couple, because I really should be 5 days on, 2 days off. Lately, I've been trying to do 6 days on, 1 day off exercise so that I can alternate certain parts. But Saturday is a busy day for me, so sometimes yes, sometimes no, but I at least try and get those squats in. So basically, what I'm saying is it's no matter what you do, you must move. You must move. And once you start to consistently move, whether it's just sitting up in bed and raising your legs a little bit because you don't feel like getting out, you want your back supported. Nothing wrong with having your back supported. Or getting up and riding the stationary bike, or walking on a treadmill, or going for a walk out in nature with a friend. It's all good. And you don't have to do massive amounts of it. Just consistently do it. And you may find, here's the big, you may find that your whole body is righting itself. In other words, making things you thought were due to being an old person come back. Absolutely come back. And I have had a lot of it happen. And I can't be more grateful and more thankful for many of the things that they were thinking of medicating me for have actually. Now, good eating is believe me, eating well is also essential. Processed foods and diet drinks are not your best friend. You may love that Diet Coke daily in place of your coffee, but it's not doing you any good. The chemicals within it are nasty, dangerous, and destructive. But I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do, just a cautionary tale. The other thing that's really funny is because I've had to cut down on salt for my husband. Now, when I eat things with salt, including gobble, if I salted the way Gobble told me to salt, I would not be able to eat the dish. So I don't salt. When they say salt and pepper to taste, I taste it and then lemon pepper it. Combination with lemon and pepper, lemon zest and pepper. Oh, so good. And you usually don't need salt. But if you're someone who loves salt, and that was me for a while, you will soon discover that a lot of the foods that you really, really loved, Fritos, corn chips were one of my favorites, are too salty. I can't do it anymore. And if I do, I have to have, I may eat two just because I love that chip, but it's not a whole bag anymore. It's not a big thing of popcorn. The popcorn has to be lightly salted. I can't have. I don't like it unsalted, but I don't like it salted the way I used to eat it in the movie theater, where it seems to have that delicious Disneyland salted popcorn flavor, which I remember as a kid. I can't, I can only eat a few little bites. It's too much. And that's because you have reconditioned yourself. Your taste buds, everything has reconditioned itself. And it basically means that your body is working hard to go back to where it can give you the work the best for you. So I hope this has been helpful. I know it's not really super creative, but one of the things you think of when you're an older person is how can I keep being created without aid? I don't really want a walker. I don't really want crutches. I don't really want any aids in my movement. I want to still be strong in legs, strong in head, strong in spirit, and strong in body. And it turns out consistent exercise, and I'm not saying hours a day. I do an hour, but it is both cardio and strength. So 30 strength, 30 cardio. And that's it for the day. And it has changed my thinking about what is old age ailments and what is actually something that can be uh, aided with exercise and or perhaps diet. So I will tell you my shoulder has a little bit of deterioration because I use it so much as a puppeteer that it starts to say, they said we see a little wear and tear in there, kiddo. But man, I'm just really can't believe flexibility has returned, things have returned, and that's just because I keep the body moving um, consistently consistently each day. And then Sundays, I have a day of rest. So if it helps, cool. I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I am not a nutritionist. I simply follow what my specialists say to do. And then I come back and report to them, you're not going to believe this, but I don't think I need that anymore because my body seems to be doing just fine without it. What say you? And then they'll tell me. And that's the surprising thing that I wanted to share with you today. Next week, perhaps we'll say to each other, let's talk about something frivolous and fun and silly and goofy and whatever, right? And that's something that I would love very much to do with you. One of the things that I would love to do is to invite you guys to go to this. Let's see if I can show it. There it is. This organization, chalkwalk.org. Now, I've been telling you about exercise. This is something else that I love to do. I love to do a 5K for Children's Hospital of Orange County, better known as CHOC, CHOC. And every year I create a pin to become a fundraiser for this Chalk Walk organization, which I believe with my whole heart. I love it. I've been doing it for a few years now. And what I'm going to do is pop you into a picture that I have that I'm very, very proud of. And yeah, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. This is my Cheshire Cat pin for this year. And my Cheshire Cat pin is something that see, it took me back to Instagram. But if you go to, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on, come on. There you go. Show. And stay there, please. Chalkwalk.org/Terri Hardin. So take a picture of it or whatever. And donate $30. And in the comment section, say the word pin. So here it is again. There we go. Let's see. What does it say? Hide. Yeah, it's doing it for seconds. That's weird. Oh, well. It's just up there for a little bit, so catch it quick. And it's recorded, so go roll it back if you want to. But this is the pin of the cat. And you go to that chalk thing. I'll post it up in a minute, but this is it. This is the Cheshire Cat pin. These are the colors of the Cheshire Cat pin. This is Cheshire Cat all the time. There it is. Okay, let me just, boop. There we go. I'm down here. But this is 3 inches wide, probably close to that long. And that bottom brown square you see there is a swinging dongle. So for $30, you have two choices. You can go to an event in Anaheim, join us for a fun day of food, and buy it now. And if you've got a gently loved Disney thing or a gently loved thing, you can put it on the free table. And we do a raffle. But this pin is yours for $30, or if you go to the event, the pin is free to you. So the event is May 16th, and the pin, you have to reach out to the host because it's limited attendance. But the pin is $30, and for each pin you donate to Chalk by going here, go here, chalkwalk.org/Terri Hardin, donate $30. In the notes, say pin only and your email. And after May 16th, we will send it to you. Okay? All right. It's super cute. It's super wonderful. It is being made now. And I think you will seriously enjoy this little guy if you're a pin collector. So now, if you feel that you're not sure, you'd like to see the pin first, I know some of you like to handle the pins first, and I get it, then simply wait, and there will be an event happening after May 16th that you might be able to go to where I am live. And once I get it, I will show you live here that it's here. So feel free to indulge. All right. And also, welcome to my Patreon page. Should you like to welcome to my Patreon page, should you like to join, $5 a month does it. That's the other place you can talk to me on a Zoom call. I usually have them Wednesday at 9 a.m., but sometimes I do 6 p.m., depending on how I'm doing. And you can talk to me as though we're sitting across the table having a coffee, or you can listen to my live broadcasts I do every Monday. Okay? So check it out. See if it's something for you. I do month to month. So if it turns out it's not for you, you can always say, hasta la vista, baby. But trust me, it is a really great group and it's a lot of fun. I ask for tips on what I should be sculpting next. I talk to you about how to become, how to do something doing what you love. What are the process? If you're an artist that has trouble pricing your art or whatever, or you're someone who doesn't think you're an artist and you work in numbers, or you work in history, all of that is artist if it's your passion. So I invite you to do that. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. And until next time, mwah, I hope to see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.